Hello everyone. I'm sure as aspirants of civil services examination and other government examinations, you are having a lot of dilemmas, a lot of doubts, confusions, questions, whether am I doing it right, whether it is all worth it, the time, money, energy that I'm putting in it, where is all of this going to go? There are a lot of questions, lot of dilemmas that come to our mind while preparing for this examination. In fact, taking the first step while choosing to appear for this examination. All of those dilemmas are going to be discussed here, and towards the end, I hope you find your answer. I hope you get what you're looking for. So, in our discussion, we are really going to kind of talk about the different stages and the different kinds of issues and get a real perspective of how things work in, let's say, a government service or in a corporate office. Okay, when someone is making this decision of joining the government service or civil services for that matter, that person is looking at the opportunity cost, looking at his peers, looking at other organizations who are doing well, and they feel that whether I should be going there or continuing with my preparation. This is especially true with people who are giving multiple attempts of the government examination. So, if we look at the government examination or the government service, we are getting an enormous amount of job stability. Especially during COVID, a lot of people face the brunt of firing, face the brunt of people being removed from their positions, okay, work from home, reducing salaries, lot of such problems kind of happened and uncertainty prevailed over the private sector. That has reignited interest in the government services. The kind of job stability that is there, unless of course you don't get into trouble, but otherwise it is something that is much more trusted. It is much more secure and comfortable. The kind of power, position, the kind of respect, dignity, okay, that you basically get by being a civil servant is absolutely enormous. It's one of the most respectable professions of the world. It's because the kind of responsibility that is being given to you, which makes it the most respectable profession of the world. It is somewhere where people look out to for getting their resolutions, for getting some answers, for leading a comfortable life. A lot of these solutions are being provided by the civil servants, which really makes it a very respectable authority. Also, the kind of power, influence, position, connect, network that you develop by virtue of being a civil servant is absolutely amazing. One really is looking at the world from a very different lens. So, in that regard, that kind of a power and position is absolutely unmatched. The kind of exposure that you get and the way in which you look at the country, and your world is something that is very different. It changes the way you look, it changes the way you become. Okay, you're not the same person anymore. A civil servant through this journey is not the same person that they started their journey from. It's probably because the way in which your experiences kind of mold you, shape you, okay, the kind of perspectives that you develop, the kind of information that you develop, that you gain, is something that is so enlightening, that you are a much informed, better educated person than you were. And the way in which we get this information processed is also absolutely amazing. This is very different from, let's say, the kind of zeros that might just be added in your pay scale. You get a different level of satisfaction. Sometimes job satisfaction is even better than the number of zeros that are there in your bank account. So, that kind of satisfaction, that kind of power position is something that you get as a government servant. You also are, getting a lot of support when you're looking at retirement. There might be a lot of perks when you're doing a white collar job. but the exposure and the support that you're getting during and post your work is something that's very different within a government service. So, in this regard, we are looking at the government service from a very different perspective, from a very different lens. But let me also tell you, it's not all rosy. There are some challenges that a civil servant also faces, and that is also something that we need to be acquainted with. Which is why I told you I'm going to help you make an informed decision. The decision is yours, but I would always say have a look at what the government service has in store for you. Yes, there are a lot of protocols, rules, regulations, a lot of laws that have to be followed. You are not just the protector of law, you basically have been given the power and authority to frame policies for the entire country, the state, or the area that you are in charge of. So, policy formulation and also policy implementation is a primary objective of a civil servant. This is a great power to have. The people you don't know and you might never meet, you are basically deciding things for them. It's absolutely a different feeling altogether, right? So, even though you have to frame or you have to follow a lot of rules, regulations, and protocols, you also get to frame it for so many of them. There is a lot of dynamism that is basically involved in this entire journey. There is a lot of suddenness, but that increases or that makes you work on your feet, encourages you to have a presence of mind, encourages you to be in a process of applying what you have learned all these years and put it into action. And that, when that is rewarding, then it is a different kind of a satisfaction, that what you have understood and what you have made out of the situation has something that has benefited so many people. The level of social impact that you're able to make is unmatched. You are just able to touch lives in so many ways that it is one of the most gratifying feeling to take back home. There are definitely a lot of erratic work hours as well, but which is not there, but is it not there in several other jobs as well? You do have such a lot of requirement from the public that you are expected to have some amount of erratic hours, some suddenness is there, but it is all for a very important social cause that you're also working for. There are the possibilities of sudden transfers that may happen, and yes, that might be challenging for some, but there are provisions on humanitarian grounds to provide some support to the civil servants so that it does not become a very cumbersome task. Sometimes it is difficult to balance your work life and family life. But at the end of the day, your bosses are also living the same life. So they also have the capacity to understand. Sometimes that kind of flexibility in terms of holidays, in terms of leaves, is also provided so that you can spend quality time with your family as well. And if we look at the final outcome, where we are, the kind of people who've made their name in the entire industry of civil servants, just a few of them that I've mentioned here, the kind of exposure, the kind of interaction you have with the highest authorities of the country and the world is absolutely amazing. It's such an important position. You're given such an important task that one should not really think twice before getting and jumping into this process. What journey is not difficult? It is for everyone. But as long as you enjoy it, it becomes an entertaining journey. And that's what the journey of civil services has to offer you. So I really wish you all the best in your journey, and I hope you come out with flying colors. On that note, thank you so much.